Truly He is the one, He has no father or son.
Alhikmat Dawa Service is now offering a special Dubai and Umrah package in December 2019. A 10-day trip from December 9th to December 19th, 2019. Average cost is $3,000. The group will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawa Services at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
All praises are due to Allahu Allah. All praises are due to Allahu Allah. Allahu 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 Allah. Allahu.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you would like to dedicate copies of one of these publications as Sadaqa Jariyah, continuous blessings for your parents or dear ones who have passed away, or fi sabilillah, in the path of Allah, please give us a call so we can place your names on these dedicated publications. You can call us at 954-986-0158, or you can also visit us at www.alhikmat.com.
Allah is the creator of different faces. Allah is the creator of all races. Allahu, 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 Allah.
Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Coroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
With over 20 years of traveling experience, Alhikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawa Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
يا لا يا لا يا لا يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا 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 يا لا لا.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Interfaith Views and Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. It is indeed a pleasure and I would say a blessing, more a blessing, plus a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Rabbi Michael Gould. Welcome to the show, Rabbi.
Thank you, and shalom aleichem to you also.
Shalom and assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you.
Same view. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Really a pleasure. So just to let our audience know, Rabbi Michael Gould is a very interesting person, very phenomenal background. He has a PhD in philosophy and Jewish mysticism. He's also a professor at Broward College, Miami-Dade College. He teaches ethics, he teaches philosophy, he teaches religion. He's a well-blessed person. I know people say that you are well-learned. I think he's well-blessed because true knowledge comes from God. We seek it, but then that's a gift from God when you can really have the wisdom of true knowledge. So welcome to the show again, Rabbi.
I appreciate the invitation.
It's a blessing, and may God continue to bless you and guide you in your field of education and teaching and preaching the message of God and the education, etc. So tell us a little bit, what motivated you to study Jewish mysticism?
Well, let me start off just by saying that I've been a rabbi a lot of years, and I think a lot about issues of God and religion and Torah and what does God want us to do and so on. But there's one particular question that has long motivated me, going all the way back to my college days when I studied science. Where'd the world come from? How did it get here? And what is the basic meaning of the creation story as I read it in Genesis, which I don't read it literally, Jews don't read it literally, but I think there's multiple meanings of that. And Jewish mysticism, the Zohar and other great books talk about how did God create the world, and the stories of, when I have to explain this to my congregation in very simple terms, it can be very complex. But in very simple terms, we often think of creation as there's God and God makes a world. And the world's outside God. With the Zohar and other books of Jewish mysticism, it's less that God makes a world than God flows into the world. It's more a story of emanation than creation. And that's a whole different viewpoint, because it's a view that God is really everywhere and God's in everything. And it's an idea that I find very, very appealing. Wow. So that's what got me somewhat interested in Jewish mysticism. But I was going for my PhD. And I was studying with a philosophy professor, and I found that the whole idea of where does mind and consciousness fit into the universe, and that was her expertise. And that was somewhat the door that opened me up to, if God is mind, God flowed and God's in all things. And that's what I ended up doing my PhD dissertation.
Wow, no, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So a little bit on your background before we get into more of the philosophical aspect of things and the ethics and all these things. So were you born in California?
Yeah, I'm a native of Los Angeles. I did not grow up in the most religious home. It was a Jewish home. My parents went on the Jewish high holidays and had Passover Seders, but they were not particularly observant in any traditional sense. I studied in Israel for a year and had this somewhat crazy, my parents didn't like the idea of becoming a rabbi.
Right.
I was a mathematics major.
Wow. So how many years now have you been a rabbi?
Almost 40 years.
40 years. I'm going to cut you in between here and there because our viewers are, of course, worldwide. And I know they will be having things in their mind as you talk. And that's why I'm going to think a little bit how the viewers are thinking. So I'll probably interject and say, okay,
No
where,
problem.
how. So
Rabbis like to talk. So.
Excellent. So they can better understand what's going on. So you were born in California.
I was
you
born.
live in Florida, and you are a rabbi for the past 40 years. You're presently the rabbi of Temple Beth Torah Sharei Zedek. Good. So we're going to get some of these words correct. So that is really interesting to know of your background and your reason for studying and getting into this philosophy, etc. This temple that you belong to, the name Temple Beth Torah Sharei Zedek. What does Sharei stand for, Maran?
Sharei means gates of. It means the gates of Tzedakah's righteousness, gates of righteousness. And the truth is, it's a merger of two synagogues. I was the rabbi of Temple Beth Torah. There was a nearby synagogue called Sharei Tzedek, Gates of Righteousness. And 5-6 years ago, we merged and became one synagogue, and I became the rabbi of both. So we merged the names.
So Tzedek means righteousness.
Correct.
And Sadaq. Is it Sadaqa or Sadaq?
Sadaqa is...
Sadaqa. It's Sadaqa.
It comes from the same word. It means charity.
I figured that. When I heard
justice.
Sadaq, I'm thinking Sadaqa.
Correct.
And in Arabic, we have a word Sadaqa. How very interesting. And it's all about charity, because your Sadaqa means charity.
Correct.
Sadaq means righteousness.
Correct.
And we say Sadaqa, which also means charity. And that's charity of righteousness. Isn't that interesting?
In many ways, Judaism sees it not as the English word charity, which has Christian roots, of something I do out of the goodness of my heart, but from a Jewish point of view, tzedakah is my obligation. I have duties, and one of those duties is to help the poor, to give a certain amount of whatever God blesses me with for worthy causes. And
I like that, because
it's a duty more than just something I do because I feel good about doing it.
Because you go more into what is called the original meaning of it. You know, similarly in Islam, we have a word called zakat. Do you have anything sound familiar to zakat?
I've heard the word.
Okay, so
but
zakat, as you mentioned with Sadaqa, and we call it Sadaqa, charity, and it's your duty. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, isn't that one of the 5 pillars?
Yes,
zakat?
So zakat is one of the 5 pillars. It's interpreted as charity, but as you mentioned about Sadaqa a little while ago, it really means purification. So how does purification coincide with charity? It's called charity, but it really means purification. What kind of purification? It means that when a person gives charity, it purifies his wealth, his possessions, his or her possession. But the way of purifying your wealth, making your wealth and your possessions be blessed, you must give to those who are needy.
I would absolutely agree with you that any wealth, although I work very hard, but any wealth that comes my way is a gift from God. I've been blessed in many, many ways. You know, I've had good jobs, I've been able to teach college and all that, and there's a certain expectation that I got to give back. Excellent.
So Sadaqa means originally what is expected from you.
Right, a justice.
Oh, that is interesting. Because I think a lot of times people don't really understand the origin of a word. So because of that, they think, well, charity, I got to help the poor. Why do I have to help him? Well, he doesn't work. He doesn't want to work. But it's not about that. It's about you are doing the good that God has blessed you with the opportunity to do. And that's what is expected from you.
I think one of the problems we often have, and I have as a rabbi, is that words are translated into English, and English is very much a Protestant a Protestant language, and so words that I'll say in English don't really quite mean the same. If I were to give the Hebrew tzedakah is probably the best example, but other words. I take a word like repentance. Repentance is a change of heart, but if I say that in Hebrew, it doesn't mean a change in heart, it means a change in action. Tshuva is the Hebrew word, which means going back to the proper path if you've drifted off the path. It's much more action-oriented than thought or prayer-oriented. It's
Because repent and to repent is only the means of going back. As you rightly said, the purpose is not just to say, God forgive me, I have repented, but it's a change your action.
A change in action.
And if you don't intend to change your action when you repent, it's not repentance.
That's true, and we in Judaism have a very intensive period around the Jewish high holidays, which I'm already starting to think about, writing sermons and so on, where almost all Jews who care about the religion show up in synagogue. The synagogues are packed. But it's called the days of repentance, Yemei Tshuva, the days of returning. What's the path we should be returning to?
Of course, that makes so much sense, because a lot of people is like, God forgive me, but you do not intend to change. So you have missed the whole purpose of repentance.
Right, and I love the fact that the word means return. And I think so I could go into a lot of different words that we use in English about religion, but if you really get into their Hebrew roots, and probably in their Arabic roots, because Hebrew and Arabic have a lot of common ideas, they would...
a lot of commonalities, yeah.
They really do.
So tell us, Rabbi, and tell our viewers worldwide a little bit about what's your perspective of interfaith, people of different faiths coming together, you know, the humanity into it. I mean, we know that there are differences. That's why there are different religions and different philosophical thinking on it. But the importance of people coming together, of different religious, different faith backgrounds, etc. What is your take on that? Because that's a little question mark from some Jews, some Christians, some Muslims, Hindus, people of different religions, some, and I think it's just a minority. With my traveling throughout the world and meeting people of different faiths, it's really a minority. But as a rabbi, a doctor, PhD, a man of philosophy, ethics.
Well, I teach religions.
And you teach religion. So it's important that our viewers there who may be viewing this program and they're of that belief, and I hear people say that, oh, we don't need to associate with other people of different beliefs. We don't need to discuss. And, well, do you think it's necessary as a man of ethics, a man of religions? What do you think,
it's a great question,
human beings in the world, should we establish that relationship with people of other faiths and getting to understand them, getting to know their background, getting to know their religion? What's your take on that?
I think anytime two people talk face to face, as you and I are doing, that strengthens the relationship, and particularly when I talk with somebody who may have different ideas than I do. You know, unfortunately, often we spend time with those who really agree with us, even within the Jewish community, never mind other faiths. I'm a conservative rabbi, which is one particular approach to Judaism, and most of the people I hang out with are other conservative Jews, but talking to the Orthodox, talking to the more extreme Orthodox, talking to the Reform, talking to Muslims and Christians and Buddhists and everybody, I think has really strengthened my own understanding, even of my own faith. It says in the Talmud, Ezehu chacham alomin mikol adam, who's wise, somebody who learns from everybody, and I can learn and understand from everybody, I think. And I've spoken. I've given sermons, for example, about Ramadan and the whole idea of fasting. My Jews complain that they have to fast on Yom Kippur, how tough it is. So imagine 30 days.
Yes.
So,
that's interesting.
To learn from each other and...
So when you tell your Jewish congregation about Ramadan, that should be a motivation. Say, hey, these people fast for 30 days. What about you? It's only 24 hours. It's only one day, so you should be happy.
Well, I try to say the whole idea of disciplining those things that animals do naturally, disciplining our eating, disciplining our sexual drive, disciplining our anger, and how we deal with money and all that. The idea of self-discipline, I think, is something that goes across in various religions, and most religions have some kind of dietary laws.
Of course, of course.
And I think that they're extremely important. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not the world's best faster, but I do fast on Yom Kippur. I also fast on the one really tragic day of the year, Tisha B'Av. And those 2 days are,
of course, yes.
you
So
know,
you
not
strongly
easy.
believe that people should learn about other faiths and other cultures and have a better understanding of your neighbors, your co-workers, the people around
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
In that way, you have a better communication, you have a better relationship and a better understanding. And when you understand people better, of course you communicate better.
I remember one day in my ethics class. I teach mostly online, but I teach some classes in person. So it was an ethics class. I was teaching it in the evening, and one of my students came up to me and said, "It's Ramadan. Would you mind if I eat once the sun goes down in your class?"
Oh, so it was a Muslim.
He was a Muslim. And I said, "Of course you could eat."
Oh.
And I think it was good even for the rest of the class to learn a little bit, although it was not a religion class, it was an ethics class.
Right.
But how to learn and treat other people. And somewhere at the center of ethics is the notion that every human being, in all their complexity, has a certain value, intrinsic value.
So how do you think we should get this message over to people? I know we're talking about it here and we're going to get it on social media, on television, etc. But how do you think we should get this message to people from our faiths or from other faiths as to the importance of discussing different faiths for better understanding? If at least it means the commonalities between different faiths. I mean, as an experienced rabbi, I did 40 years. What is your take on that? How do you think we should start getting this message? Because, as you said, we also in Islam, we have Muslims who believe, no, not at all, not necessary. We meet in the jobs, we meet in school. That's just sufficient. Let's concentrate on our own congregation, on our own faith, on our own people. And I think when a person says our own people, have we forgotten that we are all human beings? And our own race? Why don't we think of our own race, the children of Adam and Eve? What about understanding our brothers and sisters in humanity?
I absolutely agree with you. And even some of the most difficult, intractable things, the difficulties between Israelis and Palestinians, which I'm very involved with. I've lived in Israel. And sometimes the politics really bothers me, but I know that underneath there are Israelis and Palestinians who are working together and talking with each other and meeting each other. And that's where peace, it may take a while, but that's where peace will come, when we can just actually hear each other's stories. And that's what's so vital.
Yeah, I've been to Jerusalem on a peace mission with rabbis and priests and different people of different faiths, etc. I was the only Muslim from America who went on that peace mission a couple of years ago.
That's great.
And it's interesting to know how we all sat and we spoke of love and the Abrahamic faiths and the world religions and how important it is for people to get together. You know, while people out there think that there is so much hate and so much enmity in Jerusalem with Palestinians and people from Israel, or Muslims and Jews, as we would want to say, it's amazing to know how the intellectual ones love each other, understand each other, work together, got good relationship with each other.
And we need to talk to each other.
That is not known out there.
It is going on, but it's going on not in the eyes of the newspaper and not in public, and even here in this country. I don't know how many of my members have ever had any kind of contact with their Muslim neighbors other than maybe, in a grocery store or whatever. And I'd love them to know more and learn more. And it doesn't mean we have to agree. There are differences between religions, and
There are, and there would be differences. That's why you're a different religion.
yeah. But it doesn't mean I can't learn.
Of course.
So I think that this is a great privilege to be able to talk here and talk a little bit about what my own faith teaches, and in certain ways to compare and see.
I think it's fantastic education. It makes you such a happier person. You know, Rabbi, I love that. I feel so comfortable when I understand someone of a different culture and a different faith. I really feel much happier. I feel so comfortable. I don't want to feel isolated and narrow-minded. Once somebody asked me a question about why you have to work with people of other faiths, because everyone knows me as a very interfaith person. And I would say, well, why should I not work with people of other faiths? I said, do you know it's so much love and so much understanding? And they're like, well, you've got so much to do in your own faith and your own. And I'm like, yeah, but I think it's part of my faith to understand people of other faiths.
I would
and
agree with you.
People of other cultures. And so one person had mentioned to me, said, well, I don't think that's practical. So I don't know. God gave me the answer. And I'm telling you, God gave me the answer because I did not really read it in a book. I said, have you ever studied the importance of a husband and wife coming together and they produce children? Two totally opposite sex. One is a man, one is a woman. I mean, let's be real here. They physically look different. They physically are made up different. Let's physically understand that. Woman knows that, man knows that. And yet they love each other. They got a balance in working together. Each one knows their responsibility, what they are like, and what they are designed for, and what they can do. But yet they work together in so much love and so much affection, and they produce children.
I'll tell you what I say to brides and grooms. I say so often when we talk about love, it's love of ourselves. I love me. I found this person, and they love me, and I love myself. I tell them that real love is when you look at another human being and say, what do they need?
Wow.
What is how do I put myself aside and meet their needs? And I try to tell that to brides and grooms when I do weddings, and hopefully they hear the message.
Yeah, they need to. They need to. And it is so important, and we need to have that kind of understanding out there. In our second part of the program, we've got to go on a short break right now. Would you believe we have been talking for more than 20 minutes? Yeah, it looks like 10 minutes. We have just been discussing, because I think this is such an important issue. Religion plays such a major role in the world today. Human beings, religion, faith, it is so important. It doesn't matter whether politics make the news every second, but politics will not be politics, and there will be no need for politicians if you have no human beings.
No, I agree.
And human beings make up the country. And the different races and the different faiths and the different cultures is what makes up a country. And that is what makes politicians. Otherwise they have no job and they will have no position. And that's why I think, Rabbi, that we really need, you know, as religious scholars, we need to get this message out there. We need to talk to people. But when we come back from the short break, I would like to ask you a little more on, a little bit on your take on religion. You know, religion is a big thing today. Some people believe I don't need to talk about religion. We don't need religion. Religion should not be discussed. Things on your topic of ethics, what you teach in the Broward College and Miami-Dade College. I would like you to share a little bit about that to our viewers worldwide.
Very good,
So
okay.
once more, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And when we come back, we will continue this conversation with Rabbi Michael Gould on ethics that he is a professor of, and a little bit on his vision and his mission and his understanding and expression pertaining to how important religion is in the world today. Thank you very much for being a good audience. And always remember, stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
Alhikmat Dawa Service is now offering a special Dubai and Umrah package in December 2019. A 10-day trip from December 9th to December 19th, 2019. Average cost is $3,000. The group will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawa Services at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
And welcome back to Interfaith Views and Issues on Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Once more, it is indeed a pleasure to have with us in Alhikmat studio Rabbi Michael Gould, and we really had a wonderful conversation with him before we went on the short commercial break. Welcome back to the show, Rabbi.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, as we were saying before we went on the break, you are a professor of ethics, religion, etc. Could you share with our viewers who are worldwide? We got Muslims, non-Muslim viewers, and that's important to understand because sometimes some of our guests believe it's only a Muslim viewers we got. No. We got non-Muslim viewers, and I think this is so educational for them, and that's why I love this show, Interfaith Views and Issues, so our non-Muslim viewers can understand different views of different scholars worldwide. Tell us a little bit of what you teach on ethics.
Well, let me begin by saying that although I've been a rabbi a lot of years, I decided I wanted to go back and get my doctorate and teach not full-time, but part-time in college. And at first I was teaching ethics and then philosophy and then religion, and I actually was invited by Broward College to put their Introduction to Religion class together. And I emphasized that was not religions. It was not a comparative religions class. It was religion in general as a human phenomenon. And I found that it was scary because I had to do a lot of learning in order to put the class together. How do different scholars see religion? Some of them atheists, Karl Marx and Sigmund Freud.
Wow.
But also how does religion in general work? And sometimes my students will write that they're taking the class, but they don't believe in religion. They think the religion causes war, religion causes hatred.
So they're just taking this class for credit?
For credit.
Okay, go ahead.
But a lot of others have begun to appreciate religion, and my own feeling is that religion plays a big role in what it means to be a human being. How do we react to ultimate questions? And it creates communities and so on. So that, I think, is key if I try to teach religion. I also put together their Introduction to Ethics class. Now, this is not religious ethics or Jewish ethics or Christian or Muslim ethics. This is just ethics as a philosophical idea. And I always begin the class with the idea or the question.
And are you saying ethics expected from human beings?
Right.
Okay.
Ethics is the answer of good and bad.
Just to cut you a little bit, before on religion, are we also saying that to understand the good being of a human being, you need to understand religion?
I think to be a human being, part of being a human being is dealing with religion. Religion is universal. Certainly there are many people
of course
who are not religious, but even those who are not religious have religion in their family background. They may have gone to Sunday school or to church or wherever. And with ethics, the really deep question in my mind is, we would all agree that we have to treat other people with dignity and with respect, that murder and stealing and various activities are wrong. The philosophical question is, why are they wrong? What makes them wrong? Why shouldn't I just look out for number one, and if it's to my advantage to hurt another person, why should I not simply do it? And I do teach, for example, when I teach ethics, Machiavelli, who said, a prince, it's better to be feared than to be loved, and that entire approach. So it's a search for why be good. And there are many, many answers that would go long beyond, we could do a whole class on different approaches. But ultimately, I tell one of my students asked me last week, so tell me, you're a rabbi, why do you think we need to be good? And I gave him an answer after I thought about it.
What was the answer?
I said, I start off with a premise that every human being has a certain dignity and deserves to be treated with dignity. Where does that premise come from? I'm a rabbi, so I believe we were all created in the image of God. But if I were a secularist, Immanuel Kant says that you have to treat people as an end and not a means. You can't use people. Everybody has a certain intrinsic dignity, and I find that a fascinating philosophical question after you've gone through all the different philosophies.
Interesting, because, I mean, God created human being with dignity.
But when I'm teaching a college class at Broward College, I can't put God into the equation. I've got to teach it from a secular point of view. And I tell them I'm a rabbi, but I'm teaching this as a philosopher, but every now and again I'm going to throw my rabbi hat on and give them some rabbinic insight.
And they need that. They really need that.
I want them to think.
Yes. You mentioned a little bit of crime. Tell us, so what is your perspective on crime? Do you think people should really commit crime? And I say crime referring directly. All different things are considered as crime from a legal point of view. It's a crime to do this. It's a crime to break the law. It's a crime to break the traffic lights. It's a crime now to talk on your phone while you're driving. But what about murder? Murdering a human being. What is that from an ethical point of view? Because that's a big situation and a big problem worldwide.
Well, all over the world, human beings are killing other human beings. And sometimes it may be justified in war, self-defense, but much of the time it's not.
Okay, so it's not self-defense. What about
We're
people
talking about
just
an
planning
innocent
to
person
murder people? How does that fall under ethics? It's totally against. It should not be, because I want out there that criminal person or that person with a criminal mind or that person who's thinking of committing a crime should change his mind after listening to you. Why he should not commit a murder?
People don't see the humanity of other people. I look at the Holocaust and the murder of 6 million Jews. The Nazis didn't simply start killing people. They began by taking away their humanity. They gave them numbers instead of names. They became like vermin or something. And I think in general, often people don't see other people. When somebody broke into a synagogue in Pittsburgh and shot up and killed, 11 people or so, last year, they were not human beings created in the image of God, they were Jews. And when people, and on the other way around, when Baruch Goldstein went and murdered, I think 27 Muslims at prayer, or 20, however many, he murdered in Hebron, they were not people in his mind. And I think when you don't see our neighbor as a human being, that's the beginning of murder. And too often we see people by race and religion, and we don't see them as other human beings who, I'll say as a rabbi, created in the image of God, whatever religion they happen to be, whatever ethnicity they happen to be.
And I think that's why people need religion. Without that religious look and religious consciousness, will be prone to not looking at other people as human beings.
I think that religion at its best sees the dignity of other people. Is there evil done in the name of religion? Of course. And religions go wrong. Religion is a human institution. It's a human attempt to understand what God wants us to do. And sometimes we get it wrong.
But that's people who misinterpret religion
to
please their own whims and fancies, and then put it in the name of religion when that was not the purpose of the religion.
People do all kinds of things. They do wrong in the name of religion. They do wrong in the name of politics. They do wrong in the name of money or sex or whatever. And that is a reality. But one of the regular topics that my students write, I make them write a 5-page paper, whether it's my ethics or my religion class, and a lot of them write on why they don't believe in religion, because religion created all the wars in the world. And
that's a big misinterpretation.
I think that they look at the evil that's done in the name of religion. They don't look at the good that's done in the name of religion, of people understanding, of hospitals, of comfort that religion gives to people all the time. I'm doing funerals, doing other things where I'm using my religion to help people who are dealing with loss.
Of course.
Or happy times, a wedding, and using my religion to help make this marriage a little bit stronger.
Of course. Actually, it's people out of their ego who misuse religion to take advantage of other human beings.
And that's because they don't see the humanity.
And then they blame the religion. I mean, whoever thinks that it's the religion that caused that. No, it's just that man or that person who uses religion in defense of the crime that they commit.
Well, that's why we go back to where we started. Why should we talk? We need to see the humanity of each other, whatever religion we are, or race we are, or nationality we are. We need to see human dignity.
We need to.
And
God has created us like that. That's why He created us all in this one universe. He could have had a universe separate for every different religion.
It's true.
But God wanted us to understand each other, better understand each other, learn from each other. And it is really our piety, our righteousness, our godliness, and our righteousness, as I said, that makes us good people.
I find one of the most frustrating things going on today is the divisions over politics in our country and the way people demonize people on the other side.
Yeah, what's your take on that, Rabbi?
I very much try to stay out of the particulars of politics because I have people who are right-wing conservative and left-wing progressives and Republicans and Democrats in my synagogue, but my own take is listen to each other. Maybe we can learn from each other, even if we disagree. And again, communication, and don't demonize people who may support or be against the president or whatever side you happen to be on. Unfortunately, I don't hear enough of that.
I think that's very sad because it doesn't matter. The president will be from one out of the different party. And whether you like the president or not, you got to respect the position of the president.
I agree.
That's very important for people to understand.
There's the dignity of the
position of being a president.
You know, I talk about that in terms, I sometimes talk about the mitzvah of honor your father and mother. Why should I honor my father and mother? What if my father and mother were not good parents?
Yeah.
And the answer is, there's the dignity of the position. And I try to get that across to people. It gets complex to get sometimes because sometimes you get people who are not good parents. But
I mean, I like that. I know we have just shifted a little bit into an interesting topic, but politics is a major thing of today. It's once I was given a message somewhere with some politicians, and I was telling them, in religion, I mean, in medicine actually, there is something called ethics, and I wish that politicians could practice the ethics of politics. Because ethics of politics, because it seems as though politics have no ethics, and that's wrong because you are supposed to be so ethical, policies, well principled, well disciplined, And when you listen to some politicians, I don't say all, some, you know, it really misrepresents the entire human race in how they defame other people, how they put down other people, they hate, they're mudslinging. It is so very inhuman in this professional garb and this big position that you sit in, and you don't respect the human being. That is totally against ethics.
I think that people who are in politics really have the best interest of the country, the community in mind. And I could disagree. We could sit and argue forever on immigration or socialized medicine or whatever things we want to disagree on. But it doesn't mean that we have to take away the humanity of somebody who may disagree with us. We need to talk and listen. And that's why I'm bothered by a lot of the language I hear today when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
A lot of what I see on Facebook and other media,
Of course. I mean, in trying to resolve an issue around health issues or immigration issues, you should not defame another human being. You should not try to destroy another human being.
Well,
And that's what I see in politics. Do you see the same thing happening?
I see it all the time, and I see that the other side is beneath contempt. And if we could begin to listen to each other a little bit more, I can't say that I'm going to agree with somebody else. They may have a particular view about some topic, and maybe my view is different, but I want to hear where they're coming from. And maybe I will change my mind.
Of course, and this is a disease worldwide. Wherever in the world, politicians, they get over in the, wherever they sit and discuss in parliaments or whatever, it is so sad. Many times they miss the issue and they target the person of the next party in trying to be derogative and to defame and destroy that person. And I listen to it and I'm like, wow, they have missed the whole point.
No, I would agree with you. And I think the whole thing goes back to where we started. You begin with the idea that every human being on earth has a certain inherent dignity, is worthy of my respect, is worthy of my honor. And then we could talk to each other, we could learn from each other, we could disagree with each other. But
So-
it makes everybody worthy.
Of course. So as a religious leader, as a rabbi, as a doctor, professor of philosophy and ethics, etc., how do you think we need to go about teaching politicians ethics of politics?
I wish I had an easy idea. You know, I would love our religious leaders to have their own clergy who they could talk to
Yeah.
and get whatever insights they can.
But it's only religious leaders can do that, you know. I'll tell you why. Because it's only the religious congregations that combine together has people of different parties. That's the only time they all come together. I mean, other than maybe other social little issues here and there. But when it comes to going to church, those who go to church or go to synagogue or go to religious institutions, they go even though they belong to different parties. And maybe here is the place where these religious leaders need to educate politicians of different parties in their congregations on the ethics of politics, so that in trying to bring an issue on the table in the government, they don't destroy other people.
Yeah, it starts with human dignity.
Human dignity.
The whole thing starts with human dignity, and that should be the center. And I think if there's any message I've tried to give across in all kinds of ways over many, many years being a rabbi, it's how do we see the dignity, the humanity of other people?
Of course. When you go back into the Torah and the Bible and you look at the prophets, even the Quran, the Psalms, and you look at the messengers of God who came in their times, many a times they had to deal with those kings and those rulers who were today's politicians. Technically, the kings and the rulers They were today's politicians. And many a times these messengers of God were all there giving that message, yes, leading the people, but having to teach those leaders and those kings ethics of life and how to deal with people, because they were either always opposing these religious leaders.
You know, we Jews love King David. We say the Messiah will be a descendant of King David. And he was a great leader, but David was an adulterer and a murderer, and he was challenged by the prophet Nathan, who really was willing to speak truth to power and tell him that what he did with Bathsheba was wrong. And that's the ideal in a lot of ways. My oldest son is named Natan.
Oh, interesting.
And when we put out his birth announcement, we put that quote in there. Natan said to David, "You are the man." You know, the story of the man who steals his neighbor's sheep, although he has plenty of sheep of his own. When he took Bathsheba, and I think that's so right, to be a prophet, to speak truth to power, to.
Yes. Well, you know, in Islam, we have a little differences of opinion when it comes to the interpretation of prophets in that are mentioned in the scriptures.
Right.
I mean, what I mean is that we have a total different understanding of prophets. We believe that they were, well remember in Judaism, and I want our viewers to understand this, because our viewers, with their mindset of different religions and different beliefs, they got to understand that Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they got different philosophical thinking on different prophets. So we have a belief that prophets of God are sinless. Oh yeah, that's one of our principles. That they were messengers of God, and they were sent as prophets, and maybe any other thing otherwise would have been misunderstood in their mission. You see what I'm saying? But they were prophets, and they were sent to lead mankind, and maybe things would look like such in their life, and people would have interpreted things to make it look the way people understood it. But we have a strong principle that messengers and prophets were sinless. Yeah, we talk about Adam at the forbidden tree, kicked out of paradise, came down to earth, but we go down to explain that, to say that was the written plan by God. Now, you see what I'm saying again? Because God created Adam to be his representative on earth. Adam and Eve on earth, that was the whole mission. So they were in this paradise or wherever, and this was the mechanism and the story, like a movie that God wrote in their lives for them to do certain things, for certain things to happen, for human beings to learn, because they were human beings. But whether they were people who committed sin, it was written by God for them to do certain things for us to learn from.
See, I would, that's one of the areas I think where Judaism may take a different approach.
Yes, and I know that. That's why I mentioned it.
Because Judaism teaches there's no man without sin, and even
Yes.
the greatest prophet in Judaism, Moses, we're going to read about it this coming week in the Torah, how he couldn't control his temper. He got angry, he hit the rock when he should have spoken to the rock, and water came out, and God punished him and wouldn't let him go into the land. And I think it's very important that we see Moses as a human being,
Of course.
who was a great leader and a great teacher, but had his weaknesses, as did Abraham, as did
Yeah.
Adam.
No, you're right. And well, as I said, those are the differences that we have to understand, and our people need to learn and understand in different faiths, and that's how it goes, and that's why education is so important, and that's why people need to study. And that's why I mentioned that, because our viewers worldwide may be hearing this for the first time, and my interfaith relationship, I know that's how the Jews, Christians, and other faiths interpret things, but we just got a principle in Islam, boom. But that weakness, we say, was written by God to happen. as an example for us to learn. But you're right, the incident took place, you're right. Moses did hit the guy, did kill the man, and things happen like that, you know what I'm saying? And interesting.
And I talk a lot about how human beings have a good inclination and a bad inclination, and they often fight within us. And the bad inclination we can often see in a lot of biblical characters. I mean, Noah, who was the most righteous man God could find, but he goes and he gets drunk. And we have other examples of people who couldn't control various aspects of their being, and we learn from that.
And that's why it's so important for people to study other religions, and you might be able to see different interpretations and different explanation and a different philosophical viewpoint on the same issue. And maybe, Rabbi, that's the whole reason why you have so many different branches in different religions. It's because of the differences of opinion on different issues. Isn't that the reason why you would have?
Well, that's a big thing. I mean, there are certainly very different approaches to Judaism and Torah and God. That's why you have different movements within Judaism. And I know
I like the word movements. That's the better way. That's it.
Well,
in
Islam, you have Sunnis and Shiites.
You have the Shia. You have different, because they look at things into a different perspective, a different interpretation, and all religions you got that. Actually,
and I got to tell you,
every religion you got that.
And even within one, as I said, I'm a conservative rabbi. Within conservative Judaism, there's arguments. What should be the role of women in the prayer? We have a woman cantor who sings and leads our services. There's other conservative synagogues that would never allow that. So
yes, we have the same thing in Islam. You have difference of opinion in the Orthodox level, and it just goes on and on. But bottom line, these things exist, and that's where the education comes in. The interaction, the communication, the learning from each other, the learning about each other makes us a better human being, and we live more comfortable, and we learn to tolerate and understand other people.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to talk.
Excellent. And I love this, and thank you very much. Do you know we have been speaking again for another 25 minutes? I know this program is supposed to be 45 minutes, and we have gone beyond, so we'll have to do some technical editing, but it has been a pleasure. The topic is interesting. We don't normally get someone like you, a philosopher, a man with a doctorate in philosophy, a man who has studied Judaism. Mysticism.
Oh,
right?
Jewish mysticism, yeah.
I think that is so interesting. We would love to have you back on the show to discuss these different topics on details of Judaism, the different philosophy of different viewpoints, because it's educational and people need to know that. They need to understand it and not close ears and eyes towards issues that exist. When you're educated, it makes you a better person. So I want to thank you very much, Rabbi, for being with us, Rabbi Michael Gould, and to our viewers out there. It has been a pleasure to have Rabbi Michael Gould with us in Alhikmat studio. Stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. We're blessed to have a man like him, professor of ethics and religion, etc. If you can share this video to your friends and your colleagues worldwide, and we will definitely get Rabbi Michael Gould back into Alhikmat studio so we could continue this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You
very much.
You have 1-2 seconds to conclude.
1-2 seconds to conclude?
Just tell us bye, hi, what you like, what not.
I really enjoyed meeting you and having a chance to talk, and the invitation to come and speak here, and in certain ways it opened my eyes to Islam, things I need to learn, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Michael Gould. It's a pleasure, and definitely we'll have you back in the studio so that our viewers worldwide can benefit from our conversation. And we will learn from each other, and we can share it to the world. Again, It has been a pleasure to all our viewers out there to have Rabbi Michael Gould with us and to have you viewing this program. Until then, stay tuned to Alhikmat TV 24/7 online. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
With over 20 years of traveling experience, Alhikmat Services is offering exclusive 2019 tours for India and Dubai on October 13th through October 23rd, visiting holy sites, Taj Mahal, and many other historical sites. These groups will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawa Services at 1-800-804-0267 or at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com. Royal Bengal Trading, importer, exporter, wholesaler of Bangladeshi Indo-Pak groceries and spices. We specialize in various authentic Indian masalas, juices, flours, rices, and spices. We offer exclusive brands as Ocean Pearl, Shan, National, Tilda, Himani, and many, many more. We're located at 36B Caroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, Trinidad and Tobago. You can call us at 473-4676 or call 476-3117. Email us at wahabdk@gmail.com. Now open Sajida exclusive for all of your Islamic and casual wear. We carry a large selection of silk route and al-karam gowns, scarves, hijabs, hijab pins, and many other accessories. We have exclusive Swarovski gold filled and sterling silver jewelry. We are located in store 143, Caroni Savannah Road, Charleville, Chaguanas, located on the opposite side of TNT Chicken Hut. For more info, you can call 328-6682 or 295-5400.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, honest and reliable service. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens First, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
Alhikmat Dawa Services now offering a special Dubai and Umrah package in December 2019. A 10-day trip from December 9th to December 19th, 2019. Average cost is $3,000. The group will be led by Shaikh Shafayat. For more details, you can contact Alhikmat Dawa Services at 954-986-0158, or you can email us at alhikmat@alhikmat.com.
Truly he is the one, he has no father or son.